Hello fellow bikers and welcome. My name is Craig Marshall. Now this is the second part in the Namibian series that I'm creating for you on what you need to know to prepare for a motorcycle route in Namibia. Now whether you're coming in from abroad and plan to rent a motorcycle, or if you live locally and have your own motorcycle, this video will still help you. Now I've been guiding tours in Namibia for 11 years and I've done 27 tours in Namibia, and in Southern Africa I've guided over 128 tours and probably planned routes for more than 500 customers in the last 11 years. And I really know what you need to plan and prepare to ride Namibia safely. Let's get started. From the very start, there is vital information you, as a visiting adventure traveler, absolutely need to know about riding across Namibia on a motorcycle. Of the 50,000 kilometer network of roads around Namibia, only 4,500 on B roads are asphalt paved. That's only 9%. Most of the tourist highlights like Quivertree Canyon, Sossusvlei, Brandberg and many others are only accessible by secondary C and D gravel or sand roads. Furthermore, only a small portion are graded and maintained regularly, and these are the roads motorcyclists need to know about. As for the majority of gravel roads, they get hammered by high volumes of tourist traffic consisting of buses, 4x4s and overland trucks. This is what makes Namibia a dangerous country to ride without adequate route planning and motorcycle preparation. Perhaps consider using a professional route planner unless you prefer a guided tour with a support vehicle from a well-established motorcycle tour operator. So let's look at the 3 most important things you should take into consideration when planning a trip to Namibia. So question 1. Are all the riders in the group advanced or expert off-road riders with sand riding experience? I would say that if you're part of a group and you're the only rider that's got tar experience and not any off-road experience, perhaps Namibia isn't for you right now, or go with the group but be in the support vehicle. When you want to ride Namibia, you have to have the right experience for Namibia, and that is advanced or expert rider only. Beginners and intermediates, you're really limited in where you can actually move around in the country. So if you're in the south of Namibia, probably all levels of rider can ride it, but you will still have to ride some gravel and you may come across some light sand patches. Question number 2. Has the route been designed in the right season and in accordance with the experience of the riders in the group? So number 2, there are specific seasons we ride in Namibia, and that is between May and October. Now their peak season is July, August and sometimes September, and that's when the most traffic is in the country. That's when it's the most difficult to ride because you might get stuck behind convoys of 4x4s and the wind is blowing, you cannot see through the dust, you cannot overtake and you're stuck in a convoy. Now question number 3, are you on the right bike? Now bike choice is a very, very difficult thing because it really does depend on the route. You know, you can go from Cape Town to Kenya or to Cairo on black asphalt roads. You don't have to take any off-road. All the nice stuff is on the gravel. Quivertree Canyon's on the gravel. Sossusvlei, you have to take gravel to get there. Spitzkoppe, Brandberg, all of these regions in Namibia, you need to take gravel roads to get there. In a broad spectrum, most bikes will do Namibia, but a lot of the time, if your route planning is good and you stick to the main gravel roads, any size bike will do. It's very popular with 1200 BMWs, Africa Twins, 1200 Super Teneres, and a lot of big bikes, and we've been doing it for years on big bikes and never had an issue. But if your route planning is not good and you end up on the wrong road with a massive heavy 1200 fully loaded and you're on a thick sand track, well, that's just bad planning. This is a look at Tracks for Africa GPS maps and map source software I use for creating routes. I've highlighted all the major tar roads in pink, and the blue flags are some of the major tourist attractions. Quivertree Canyon in the south, Sesriem and Sossusvlei in central Namibia, Spitzkoppe, Brandberg and Ai-Ais National Park. Most of the major attractions are only accessible by gravel and sand roads. So what is the solution for creating a motorcycle route in Namibia that's safe, easy to ride, when you don't know which roads to choose? Well, we've made it easy for you. In the description below, you're going to be able to download 2 Namibian routes. The first one is a 12-day taste of Namibia. Easy riding, leaving Cape Town, going via the Northern Cape, seeing the most of the highlights in the southern region of Namibia, and then coming back into South Africa and finishing in Cape Town. And the second route is a 14-day Cape Town to Windhoek one-directional route. So check out the links in the description below. You will also be able to download the Tracks for Africa mapping software. Now this only works specifically with Garmin GPS units, but it is a definitive collection of tracks right around the whole of the African continent. The paper maps available from Tracks for Africa are highly accurate and match the GPS software exactly. So even if you don't use a GPS, these maps are all you'll need. So I've prepared a list of some of the major highlights in Namibia, and they're in the description below with the conditions of the roads to get there. No matter which bike you're riding to Namibia, good mechanical preparation and the right tire choice will count strongly towards the success of your tour. Remember, Namibia is a very remote country, so you don't want to break down or have issues due to poorly maintained bikes. Equally so, a brand new set or fairly new set of tires is a top priority. Always ensure that you have enough tread for the distance you intend riding, and with the high level of sand content on the Namibian gravel roads, preferably choose a block knobbly pattern to evenly disperse the sand and create a more stable front end. Route planning is absolutely the single most important thing of riding Namibia. You have to know which roads you're going on, and you have to know the seasonal conditions of those roads and how often they get scraped and how often they have flooding and sand coming down. And this is the most important part to understand, is that the roads are ever changing. So even though you might find a fantastic road one year, you come back the following year and that road is completely different altogether. The sand is different, it hasn't been scraped, there's flooding and riverbeds that have flooded in the rain season, and you come to ride it a year later and it's a totally different road and it's very unsafe. And unless you're an advanced or expert rider, the chances of you crashing and going to hospital are very high. And the reality is that Namibia claims lives. It claims lives in 4x4s and it claims lives in bikes, and it's not a pretty place if you don't have the necessary experience to ride these off-roads. You can find yourself in a real troublesome spot, and you can end up crashing and going to hospital simply because you chose the wrong road. This does not mean you shouldn't ride Namibia. Protective off-road riding gear such as chest protector, neck brace and full motocross boots are strongly advised for tours in Namibia. One of the key most important things to understand about riding gravel roads and sand roads is actually the sun. Now, for instance, if you're riding a gravel road and the sun is directly behind you, the sun shines directly into the furrows and into the sand ruts, and you can't see the contrast. Now the sun is coming from this angle right here. So if I draw tracks like that in the sand, the sun is actually coming down these rows. So you don't get any contrast of exactly where the furrows are, where the car tires are, and where the collection of debris lines are, which is the raised area of sand. So when you have the sun coming from 90 degrees, now look at the difference. Now suddenly you can actually see shadows in all the ruts. Now what that means is when you're traveling along a road that's 90 degrees to the sun, you're going to be able to see the shadows in all the ruts, which makes a huge difference to being able to see which part of the roads are soft and which part of the roads are not soft. Now typically on a gravel road, you're going to get 4 lines. You're going to get the 2 lines on the left and the 2 lines on the right where the car's traveling, and you get these debris lines in the middle, which can sometimes be up to 4 to 6 inches high of sand, and that's the danger. As long as you stay in the car track and the hard pack, you'll be fine. If you try to cross the deep sand or the high sand ridges, you might not be fine. This is why standing up is so important. When you're sitting down on the bike, you're getting a lot of feedback from the road, and when the tail starts getting unstable, that movement comes up through your body and it makes it feel a lot worse. When you stand up, the bike's allowed to move around laterally underneath you, and a lot of that instability can be avoided. So standing up on slightly sandy roads is one of the key most important things to riding safely. In addition, lowering your tire pressures is going to add stability on sand patches and soft sections. With tubeless tires, you can of course run much lower tire pressures, but we don't recommend dropping the pressure lower than 1.5 bar on the front and 2 bar on the rear, depending on the overall weight of bike, rider and luggage combined. If you lower the pressures too much on bikes with tubed tires, then you risk tearing the valve stem and getting pinch flats. Once you've crossed the Namibian border, the scenic route to the second largest canyon on Earth, the Fish River Canyon, is via the picturesque Ausenkier winelands, a massive and still growing wine region along the Orange River bordering on South Africa. The gravel roads from Ausenkier to Fish River Canyon are generally in very good condition, having been totally rebuilt in May 2019. I strongly suggest an overnight stop at what is considered to be the most stunning lodge in southern Namibia, called Canyon Lodge, part of the Gondwana collection and situated in the Ai-Ais National Park. It's best to visit the Fish River Canyon in the early morning with the rising sunlight flooding the canyon. After the Fish River Canyon, you'll need to make a fuel stop and perhaps have a bite to eat at the well-known Canyon Roadhouse before heading north on the C37 to Keetmanshoop and the enchanting Quivertree forest. The C37 is mostly in very good condition with approximately 30 kilometers of asphalt to Keetmanshoop. The Quivertree forest at sunset is a photographic paradise. The easiest day on this route is a 350-kilometer journey heading west on the B4 asphalt highway to Luderitz. The Bahnhof Hotel in Ais offers tasty lunches, decadent cakes and an additional fuel stop. The asphalt road through the Namib National Park is very scenic and sightings of the wild horses of Garoob are common. It's strongly advised not to feed them. After leaving Luderitz, be sure to stop at Kolmanskoppe, the diamond mining ghost town 10 kilometers outside the city limits. So this is the historical location of Kolmanskoppe, the old diamond mining ghost town. Let's go and have a look around. Most travelers will typically then head northwards towards Sossusvlei, the highest sand dunes in the world, situated in the Namib National Park. Mostly, Sossusvlei is accessed by the C13 and C27 from Ais, but be warned, the C27 is known as one of the worst and most dangerous roads in the entire country. It's 626 kilometers and 7 hours riding on the good, safe gravel roads. The shortest route on the C27 is 466 kilometers on some of the worst and sandiest roads in Namibia. Typically, we break this down into a 2-day route with an overnight stop in Helmeringhausen. Rather travel an extra 85 kilometers on the B4 heading east to join the C14 via Batani and overnight at the well-known Helmeringhausen Hotel and Guest Farm. Then, the following morning, take the C14 and C19 up to Sesriem. Once you get to Sesriem, it's important to know that motorcycles are not allowed on the 65-kilometer tar road inside the Namib National Park. A quick visit to the Adventure Center at Sossusvlei Lodge and you can book a shuttle for the next morning. Gates open at 6 a.m. and breakfast in the dunes can be included. If you're feeling fit, then hike up the world's highest sand dune called Big Daddy and down into Deadvlei, an ancient pan where 800-year-old trees lay scattered across the parched floor. It takes approximately 3 hours and is tough going if you're not fit. Be sure to take sunscreen, a hydration pack, or at least 2 bottles of water. Leaving Sossusvlei on the C19 and C14, heading to Walvis Bay and Swakopmund is a very challenging road and is for advanced and expert riders only. Extreme concentration is required for this section. Be sure to take a break at the famous Solitaire Bakery and fuel stop. Remember, Sossusvlei is the biggest attraction in the country and has the highest level of traffic, so the C19 and C14 to Walvis Bay is 300 kilometers of highly challenging loose and corrugated gravel with soft sand patches. It's more than 4 hours riding on probably the toughest section of this route. Mostly you'll need to be standing up and negotiating sand patches and oncoming traffic. A suggested speed would be nothing less than 90 kilometers an hour. Although this might seem fast for the given conditions, on the corrugations, speed is your friend. After Kuseb Canyon, the road conditions are better and it's only 165 kilometers to Swakopmund on fairly good gravel roads. Swakopmund to Windhoek can be ridden on all asphalt roads, but we suggest you visit Spitzkoppe. This 1730-meter spire of rock is definitely one of the most breathtaking sights in Namibia. Spitzkoppe can be reached either by the B2 asphalt highway or by heading north on the salt roads to Henties Bay, and then the D1918 heading east. The D1918 is often in very bad and sandy condition, so faster and safer access via the B2 highway is suggested. The D1930 and D3716 may be a lot further, but it's a short riding day from Swakopmund, and the long way round is safer and still very scenic. There are only two locations to stay at Spitzkoppe: the luxurious Spitzkoppe Lodge, which is priced at around 5,000 Namibian dollars per person per night, or the communal campsite, but then you have to carry all your own camping equipment with you. A basic restaurant, bar facilities and hot water ablutions are available in the communal campsites. So thank you everybody for watching, and please take a look at all the links in the description below. There's a lot of information there that can help you. Stay tuned, subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you're going to see a lot more on routes and traveling by motorcycle in Southern Africa. No matter when you intend to ride Namibia, always be sure the route is within your capabilities. Conduct solid bike preparation and dress to protect your body. Namibia is a country full of adventure. Don't miss out on the adventure motorcycle trip of a lifetime.